Hey YouTube, it's Brandon from VK Milling and Hardwoods here in rain-soaked southeast Tennessee. Um, it's, I think we got 2 days without rain this week, and that's been it. I mean, the other day it was flooded out here so bad that I had to use the forklift and scoop a bunch of stuff out of the way and then use the forks to dig a channel so that the water could actually run off, and I'll show you where that was. Yeah, so even though it's been raining, I've been out here milling. A lot of work. It's slow going in the rain, but it is what it is. Bills got to get paid, and, the bills don't stop coming in even though it's raining, so you got to keep that going. But I kind of wanted to just give you a little bit of an update, show you what it is I'm working on. I got into cutting dunnage with another fellow, and we've just been plowing through logs. He brings in the logs and I plow through them. And yeah, so that's what we're doing. If you follow me on Instagram, Twitter, or you follow our page on Facebook, you'll see some of the pictures of some of the stuff that's getting cut. And it's a real shame that this stuff is getting cut into dunnage, because there have been some absolutely amazing pieces that have come out. I've probably got about 800-ish, 750, 800 board feet of hackberry that spalted and gorgeous and just woo. But it's all 3.5 by 6s now, so it's going out the door. But yeah, so this is what we're cutting. It's all dunnage. These are all 3.5 by 6s, somewhat random lengths, but not quite. These are all billed as 8-footers. There's some 8-footers down here, some 6-footers up here, and then on this side, a big stack of 10-footers we've got going on here. So 3.5 by 6s by 10s, 28 per bundle, that kind of stuff. So that's what we're cutting. And I wanted to show you something that's made my life so much easier, given that you've seen in a lot of the videos where I throw a log on the mill using the forklift, and then I plow through it, and then I actually take all the material off of the mill using the forklift as well. And that works great when I can access both sides of the sawmill with the forklift. I can't always do that. The way it's set up right this second, I can't quite get in there on the back side. I wish I could. I may go through there and clean it out a little bit more so that I can. But the big problem with pulling it off with the forklift is that if you just lay like 6 by 6s on the ground or something, when you come over to stack the stuff, once you have a row of material laying there, then you can't take the material off the forks unless you put stickers in between them, or something like that. And this stuff's not getting stickered. It's dunnage. So, trying to take stuff off is a big pain, because then you've got to physically do it. These are 3.5 by 6s. It's 6, 8, and 10 feet long. And it's red oak, it's white oak, it's hackberry, it's poplar, maple, sweet gum, you name it. And, it'll wear you out if you're just trying to manhandle this stuff. So, a couple of weeks ago, I was at one of the local scrap yards, and I found this 4x4 steel tubing in 4-foot lengths, and I bought a bunch of them. And I spent a day in the shop cutting them and welding, and this is what I came up with. So if you look right down here, I've got 2 sections of this 4x4. And what I did was I cut them into 7-inch lengths, and then I welded the two of them together, or welded two of them together in an L shape. Let's see if I can get a bit better of a picture for you. There we go. Weld them in an L shape and then drilled a hole in one of them for a lag screw or lag bolt. And what that does is it allows me to take a 3.5 by 3.5 piece of material like this and slide it down in there. Show you a little better. And this stays. Down on the bottom, I've got another 3.5 by 3.5 piece of material that runs along the ground. And to keep them from sliding apart, when I got to put stuff on there, that lag bolt goes through and it just binds that together. The top pieces don't actually need it. They're wedged in there really good, and there's no upward strain on them, so there's nothing that's going to pull them out. All the strain that hits those top supports, or the verticals, is all side strain. And so they're not wiggling themselves out of here. And for taking stuff off of the forklift, it's fantastic. And I know they make metal versions of these, all steel, you know, stackers and stuff like that. But this was really cheap. I think I bought 4 or 5 pieces of the 4x4 steel at, I think they were 42 inches long. They might not have been 4 feet. I think they were 42 inches. But I bought, I think, 5 pieces of it for $35, right? And spent a day just cutting it and welding it. So, excuse me again. Right now I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I've got 6 of these sitting down here now. They're not tied together. They're all independent of one another. So that means that I can adjust the width back and forth for whatever it is that I'm actually cutting. And if I'm, let's say, cutting 20-foot long 1-bys, well, I can put 4 of them down and have support in the middle as well as supports on the end, so I'm not getting, you know, a lot of drooping and stuff. So, you know, those have made a huge difference, because what I was doing before, and it works, it's just not incredibly sturdy. I would take something like a 4x4 or a 6x6 like this, and then I would cut some white oak, like 1x6s, attach them to the sides down here at the bottom, and then put a vertical, or not vertical, but a 45-degree angle support there. And those work. They do. And if you want to make something like that for use at your mill, by all means, you know, try it out. I think you'll like it, especially if you're using, you know, a front end loader or skid steer or a forklift or whatever to offload materials. And the other benefit to this is that when I go to pull the materials off of the forklift, because I have these 2 vertical supports here that are roughly lined up, or will be, when I put material on the first time, it kind of lines everything up on the back side here, you see. And so that helps keep the stacks much cleaner and more even. And so, yeah, just all around helps a lot. Now, one of the things that I actually want to do, I thought about this the other day, if I can go back to the scrapyard and get more of that 4x4 tubing, is my forks are 42 inches long. That's just the max that I can put on those forks and not have stuff falling off of the end. So I think what I want to do is I want to make some more of these pieces, and then on the back side back here have either more independent I don't know, arms, whatever you want to call them, or have the legs that go across the ground cut to the right length so that those can go on, and it makes a U shape instead of this L shape. If I do the U shape, then when I go to put stuff on here, if I accidentally bump the stack, I don't run into those instances, or wouldn't run into those instances where that last stack on the very back here falls over. It drives me nuts when it happens, and you can see right down here where that's happened. All right, and that sucks, because then you got to turn around, stop everything you're doing, and then go restack the stuff that, you know, is already supposed to be stacked. So that's what's going on here. I may set up the camera for you in just a minute, and then show you how they work out, but I'll probably have that in other videos, so it's not something that you know, is super important. I will say that one of the things that I want to do, I'm not sure how I want to go about doing it yet, but one of the things I want to do is attach some kind of feet to the bottoms of these so that it keeps them from tipping over side to side when I take a stack off. That has been getting on my nerves a little bit, but not enough to make me just rethink the entire design. These are working fantastically well. So yeah, we've been out here working. As you can see, this is the disaster pile right here. That's just a huge pile of sawdust that's got a bunch of stuff mixed into it. One of the guys that comes and takes slabs away had a claw. The new claw he has can't pick up this stuff. The old claw could. So it was supposed to be gone, but there's nothing I can do about it now. I'll have to get a skid steer or something like that. But our slab wood pile, I don't know if some of you remember having seen it previously in other videos, but our slab wood pile has slowly but surely been whittled down, and I'll show you what that looks like now. So this is my slab pile. Now this slab pile used to come all the way out to here in this general area, and all the way over here. So I would definitely say about 1/8 of an acre's worth of slabs that were stacked taller than me, and I'm 6'1". So, I mean, we've made a huge dent in all of this that's out here, getting it all cleaned up. The next thing I have to do is I've got to get a skid steer in here, something that's got a bucket on it. Probably if I have to go rent one, I'm going to have to rent one with a bucket and a grapple, because a lot of this stuff I'm going to have to, it's hard to say, there's a lot of stuff in here that's mixed dirt, gravel, and bark, and small pieces of wood and everything else. And the grapple, especially if it's a slotted bottom grapple, then I can slide in there with it, I can clamp it down and pick up all of the wood stuff and leave a lot of the gravel and the dirt and everything else behind. Get that all moved and cleaned up, and then come back with the bucket, and I have to start way out there. Let's see. Yeah, way out there where the concrete ends, and then just scrape this entire ground all the way back here and all the way across out there. Because underneath this is hard packed gravel. It's almost concrete under here. What you see on top here, which is multiple inches thick, is just sawdust and dirt and gravel. And yeah, it's all becoming a problem. A big issue for me. And I really need this all cleaned up. Preferably carried away somewhere, but if I can't, then it's all going to go out into the tree line. But this is all got to get cleaned up out here. But yeah, so this whole area, this entire area here, all the way to the sawmill was underwater. And I mean, easily 4 or 5 inches of water just standing here. And you might not be able to see it very well, but right over there, from here going out underneath that pile of logs there, is a trench that I had to scoop out to let all that water drain. And as you can see, it's still not all drained out. This is a depression in the area, and normally it drains off to the side over there and then that way towards the building. But there's so many logs and the sawdust and everything else that it won't drain out anymore, which is another reason why I've got to clean all this stuff up. So yeah, I've got some nice big red oaks and a couple of sweet gums and some poplar, and over here in this pile, I've got, I think it's a 17.5-foot long hackberry. Let's see if I can get you a picture. There we go, where the hatchet is. That's a 17.5-foot long hackberry right there. That's going to get cut down into 2 8-foot long logs. And then behind that, I've got a nice 18-foot long, looks like a red oak. And then on top of that, looks like a sweet gum. And then this oak back here is going to get cut in half, probably an 8 to 6, something like that. This poplar that I have laying here, we had hopes for it, but the rot apparently goes from one end to the other. I'll show you what that one looks like. There you go. You can't quite tell from the pictures, but that sucker's about 20 inches in diameter. Pictures. You can't tell from the video, but it's about 20 inches in diameter. And it's got that bark inclusion that runs almost the entire length of it, but the core of that is just completely rotten all the way down. It does make a very interesting heart shape, though. Ideas. So yeah. Tired. It's been a lot of work. It's been a lot of work. But yeah, that's my update, and I'll put some pictures up. Well, not, because I'm just gonna put this up with my phone. But I might do a follow-up video with some pictures of some of the slabs and stuff like that. Excuse me again, that have been coming off. Anyway, until next time, I'll see you later. Stay safe and have fun.